Good day buddies. I hope you're doing fine out there. I've told you in the past about one of my dream ant colony to keep, which is this ant species that I showed you before. Most likely Phtoli parva. Upon observing a lot of wild colonies, I found out that they don't really form a huge colony. Which is perfect, as they were also incredibly small ants. And they won't occupy too much space. As I dream to keep them on a small tabletop ant farm. That can be displayed on a study table, or in office as well. They will be a refreshing show for the eyes for some quick breaks. So, upon finalizing the plan, we try and started to keep some queens of the species last year, for the first time, and we did lots of experiments to study them. Like how many queens should we start a colony? We got 3, 4, or more than 6 queens founding. And we definitely find out that the best way to start is having a single queen, since they mostly end up doing pleometrosis. The best bet to start a multi-queen colony is with 2 queens, but most of the time even if the second queen survived, she will just live miserably like this queen here. The workers let her live but cut her limbs, and made her just a slave egg layer with minimal movements. So, starting with single queen is the best way to keep them, as even the chosen queen might get injured during pleometrosis. On our experiments, we also concluded that this species isn't hygienic, as almost every colony end up contaminating their hydration source, or wet area. We've also tried keeping colonies in different setups to find out the best way to house them. And they always end up with molds easily, so the best way is to keep them is obviously a bioactive ant farm. And more than a year ago, we made some of this tiny ant farm. And before showing you how to build this mini bioactive, tabletop formicariums, let me say thank you to all of you buddies for supporting the channel. Let me also say welcome back buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D-Colony. We're using this small acrylic containers. And also this one, which is occupied by our late colony. We just covered the vertical nest entrances, so they can't access to use it as escape routes. We're going to make some rock nest for the 3 containers. This is like the one our fire ant colony is using. Like always, we're going to create a structure or nesting space out of these rocks, using super glue and cottons to bond them together. This will provide the colony a stable place to live, and keep them safe from soil erosion while we water the setup. We don't always need to make a single structure like this. Stacking multiple layers works fine as well, especially for deeper setups. This white stone at the top will serve as the roof and feeding platform, as the lower layer of rocks will be under the substrate. We'll just put them on place. And set a layer of activated carbon, which will help on the ant farm's filtration. We're not making any drainage layer, cause it's useless for an ant farm, especially if we're housing a ground nesting species. Next is obviously the substrate. This is my own mixture buddies, and I assure you this works great on a planted tank. The mixture consists of 1 part soil, 1 part sand, 1 part pine bark, 1 part sphagnum moss, and 2 parts cocoa peat. Of course we sterilized everything on the mixture, and we also cut the pine barks to at least a centimeter. Since we're using small containers for the ant farm, cutting will make the pine barks spread nicely on a tight space. We're now watering at least 50% of the substrate layer, from the top. The water will seep through, to make the substrate moist but not too wet. We take some cuttings on our other terrariums, to plant them here. This are Ficus quercifolia, one of the best plants we can have for an ant farm as they're so easy to care for. We didn't cut an opening on the lid yet, since it will help to provide higher humidity inside. Which is what the cuttings need to easily root. As a proof, look at those roots in just a week. And healthy leaf growths in just another week. Anyway, we use an already rooted plants on this one, since it's an old ant farm and already have an opening on their lid. After more than a year, let's check the bioactive ant farms, which is now ready to accommodate a colony. Just look at those healthy and well-rooted plants. We made this small one as a founding ant farm before. But since I got busy, we never tried to start a colony here. But no worries, as I plan to use it on founding an Anochitus colony, or any species that can't climb glass hopefully soon. On these medium one, I guess it can accommodate our dream ants colony until maturity. But since we got a bigger one here, we'll use it. And I'm sure it will offer them more than enough space than what they need. Anyway, we haven't done any pruning here yet, so we can really see that growth in a year. We definitely need to do it before moving our pet ant colony, since the plants can already reach the lid and will surely be used by the ants to escape. We're cutting this into smaller pieces, so they'll decompose easier and return the nutrients they've consumed growing back to the soil. In watering we need to do it like this, just water one side of the terrarium. This time it's here, since we did the other side last week. This way we avoid overwatering the setup, and we can have a moist and a little drier part. Anyway, here's our new colony of big-headed ants. They're just 3 months old and already on their 3rd test tube as well, as they're not so clean on their living quarters. Just look at the water as it started to change in color again. So, rather than giving them another test tube, we're now moving them to our bioactive ant farm as planned. But anyway, we started raising this single queen colony, and find out that they need a fresh test tube every month to keep them healthy. And here's on their 2nd month obviously with their fresh test tube. And the colony's first major. And this one was the first super major worker we featured on a short video previously. This will be the last time we're seeing nest activities clear and up close, since we're moving them to a natural setup. So, let me just upload some shots with the broods, and Her Highness. We prepared the barrier, put the lid, Then carefully lay the colony inside the terrarium. We're giving a water feeder soon, once they leave the test tube. And just like that, my dream ant's life on a mini tabletop ant farm started. I know some of you dislike natural setups buddies as they don't allow us to witness the colony's nest scenes. But what we did is all to keep the colony healthier, as this setup solves the main problem on keeping the colony, which is their hygiene. Now we can relax and just watch them grow from above, as this little ecosystem we have here will now take care in keeping their nest clean. Don't lose hope buddies, as there's still a chance that we can see nest activities from the bottom of the ant farm. As soon as the colony occupy the lower rock chambers, as they will be moving once in a while to find the right humidity. Anyway, this is the first colony that I don't have plans or worries to add or move to another setup for the years to come. As I've said, this ant farm is more than enough for them. They lively explored the terrarium to its depth real quick, and moved in just 10 hours. More of that, and their naturalistic life on this ecosystem soon, on this colony's future updates. I just hope you have learned something from this video guys. Be a genie for the first time, by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button, that would help a lot. This is D Colony, saying goodbye. For now. But hoping to see you on my next videos.